Hello everyone, welcome to the next part in my series. Today is going to be about my interaction system and also object highlighting and two different ways we're going to show things can be interacted with. We're going to use a material to highlight an object, and then we're also going to use a widget to show that things can be interacted with. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually set up a line trace from the player. So I'm using my horror tutorial character, but you should be able to just run this on yours. There shouldn't be any issues. So let's make a function for this. We're going to call this FPS trace, so FPS trace. Right, we need a line trace by channel. We can put that in. The start point will be the first person camera. We will get world location, and then that will go into the start. The end will be the first person camera, get world rotation, get forward vector, multiply, and then the float. This will be how far the line trace will go. So if you want a really long interact trace, this can be a high number. For me, 300 is okay. From the get world location, we plus and then connect that to there and connect it to the end. And the draw debug we will do for 1 frame. So now if we go to the event graph, and we want this running on the event tick, which is here. So for this, I can unpin that because these are just testing. Same with that, and we'll move that over here. So we can drag the FPS trace in. If we try it, now we have the trace like this. If you're wondering why mine looks a bit like laggy in a sense, I'm using Spring Arm, but it will work just fine. It matches up to the middle of the screen. So now we have that. What we want to do is we need to create a interface to communicate, to let the player know that this object is an interactable and should highlight. So what we can do is I'm going to create a new blueprint interface. I'm going to call it BPI underscore interactable. And I might spell that wrong, but that is perfectly fine. So in here, this is where we're going to store all the functions for the interactable objects. So we can apply this interface to them, to any interactable object, and they will all get the same thing. So we just do this once and everything will get the thing. So we need a few functions. The first one will be highlight object. We need another one, which will be unhighlight object. Next one will be a interact. We'll do interact. So now we have these three. We have highlight, unhighlight, and do interact. What we want to do now is create. I'm going to create a test object. It'll be BP underscore test object. This is just to show that the things are working. And in here, it's going to be a cube like this. And the only thing we need to do for now is in the class settings, we need to come to implemented interfaces and then implement the interface we just made, the interactable. So now we have these that have appeared, these do interact on highlight. So what we're going to do now in the line trace is we're going to set the logic up for highlighting and unhighlighting the objects. So we're going to do a branch, then we're going to split the out hit, and we're going to do a branch on the blocking hit, and then we're going to do another branch on the true, and from the hit actor we do does implement interface. The interface will be the BPI underscore interactable, and then what we want to do is we're going to actually promote this hit actor to a variable. We're going to call this the hovered actor, just so we have hovered actor, just so we have a reference to this. We're going to pull out here, we're going to get the hovered actor, and we're going to right click and convert to validated get, because we need to see if this is set to anything. If it is valid, we want to run the unhighlight on here. So we basically want to unhighlight the object that we previously had. If we had something hovered, we want to talk to that one and basically say, you don't need to be highlighted anymore. We want a new object. After that, we're going to set the hovered actor because now we have a new one. We're going to do an is valid to make sure the object is real and still alive. If it is valid, we can call highlight on it, and then we can put that into a return. If we haven't hit any object, we want to basically get the hovered actor. We want to promote to validated get to check if we have anything. If it is valid, we want to unhighlight object again. And then we want to grab the hovered actor and set it to nothing. We want to clear the hovered actor. And then that can go into the return as well. Okay. From the false of this branch, so if we hit anything and it does not implement, we're just going to run into here again and check if we have anything, and we're going to clear it. The not valid of this hovered actor here, if we hit an actor that is, and we've never seen it before, we can't unhighlight it. So we just run this into the hovered actor like that. So now what will happen is we can do a test here. We can say when we highlight and unhighlight, we can do a print string event highlight object. We can say highlighted. When we're no longer highlighted, we can say not highlighted. If I do a quick test, and if I just place this actor in the world, so if we go to it, if I highlight it, highlighted, but it is firing constantly. So let's see why it's doing that. So to fix that, what we can do is we can do a branch into the is valid. And we can get the hovered actor and we can say equals, and that will be equal to the out hit actor. Look that up and do false. So now if we go and test highlighted, not highlighted, highlighted, not highlighted. So the next part is going to be using a material to actually show an outline. I don't really know how material stuff works. So in the bottom, there'll be a link and you can basically copy and paste that. And I'll show that now. So this is the Blueprint UE website. That'll be linked below. This allows you to paste in your blueprints to share with people. And it also lets you copy from it. So the way this works is there's a code to copy at the bottom. If you click on this, you can highlight everything. So Control A and copy. And then you can go back into Unreal and we can create a material. So we can call it M_highlight. So all we need to do is click on here, change the material domain to post-process, and then Control V and paste it in. We hook the lerp to the emissive color and click apply, and then that's it. The material is ready. The only thing we do is in the content drawer, we can right click the material and create material instance. We open this now. We can open these parameters here and actually modify how the outline will look. So if I use like a green like this, you can't see it here, but it'll work basically. It's a very easy way of, if you need just a little bit of help, you can see what other people have done if they've shared those. So if we want to test this, we need to add a post-process volume into the world. So you can click the plus sign here and search post-process volume. We can drag it into the world. By default, it's just a cube like this, and it will only affect anything that's in the cube. But what we can do is in the details panel, we can search infinite and infinite extend unbound. So if we click that, this, no matter where it is in the world, the whole world will be covered by this. The next thing in the search bar is search material, and post-process material, we want to create a new array element, and we want to choose the one we just made, which is M_highlight. And we want the instance, because the instance will allow us to modify it and tweak it without having to change the code for the main interactable. So if we try it now, nothing will happen, because what we have to do is we now have to set the highlighting the objects up. So to do this, you can grab the static mesh of whichever object you want to highlight. You can pull off and you can do set render custom depth. And we want that as true, like this. And for the unhighlight, we can just do the same. We can untick it. Now if we try this, let's see what happens. So if we highlight, you can see there's a black outline around the object. Very, very small outline. So what we need to do now is change this. So if we open this, and we can modify the line width. If you just say 3, we can outline intensity, we can do 1. The color, we do a yellow. Let's see what happens. So now we have a highlight. I had to just pick a different material because it was having, the one I originally showed had issues. So I linked the new one, but this one works a lot better. So if I go up to an object and highlight it and press F8, and then bring this down, the new one, the colors are working correctly. So the intensity of the glow on the outside, we can make it glow, or we have the width again. So if we do like that, we want like a nice, like a greenish, like that. And then we want to make the width a bit more, like that. So if you can notice, the outline has a jitter to it. Now there's a fix for this in the project settings. You search jitter, custom depth with temporal AA jitter. If you turn that off and then try it, you don't have the jitter anymore. It's some weird thing that is enabled. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason. But as you can see now, the objects are highlighting, that they are being able to be interacted with. And what we can do then is, if we call a do interact, we can do a print string. We can say hello, I am an object. In the first person character, if we use mouse, left mouse button, what we could do is we could get the hovered actor and we can do a validated get. And we can check if we have something saved, we can run the command do interact. So now if I do this, if I highlight this and click hello, I am an object, if I'm not holding, it doesn't work. So now we have an interactable system, like very simple to check and highlight the object, and then we can do stuff on it. So as an example, we could just add a... So the next way of doing this is we are going to, instead of doing the highlighting the material when we highlight something, so if we take this away, we lose this. We're now actually going to show a widget on the screen, which will be like a cursor that will appear and fade out. To do this, the first thing we need to do is we need to grab some cursors. So I'm going to use this free pack from Kenny. I will link this in below as well. I'm going to download this. I'm going to put it on the desktop here. So what I've done is I've extracted the PNG files from the pack, and I'm going to go into the outline, and here we have all the different ones we can use. I'm just going to do let's see, I'm going to just use this one, I think, this Crosshair 180. So I'm going to just drag this in to Unreal, and it will import it. First thing I want to do is right click, Sprite Actions, apply Paper 2D settings. It just makes it a bit sharper. Min map, I don't want to do anything, I don't think, no. The texture group I want to do is UI. Where is the UI? Here, UI. And we can save that. Close this. So now we need to create the widget that will show this. So we can right click, user interface, widget blueprint. Call my WBP, and then I'm just going to call it HUD. Because we're going to build a HUD at some point, we may as well do it here. So what I want to do first is a canvas for this. And I'm going to do an image. I'm going to come up to the anchors here and hold Control and Shift and click this one so it's anchored to the middle. The image is going to be the crosshair, and it's going to be a crosshair 180. So if you can see, it's like this at the moment. What we want to do now is the size, I want to make it 32 by 32. So it'll be like this on the screen. And we can try it out in the first person character on begin play, whatever begin play is. I don't know. What is going to, have I deleted begin play? Let's see, begin play. Yeah, I did. Lovely. We're going to create a widget, which is going to be WBP underscore HUD here. And then add to viewport. So if I play it now, so now we've got a circle in the middle. But we don't want it to show all the time. We only want it to show up when there is something to highlight, and then it should go away when we don't need it. So I'm just going to name this to crosshair here. And what I'm going to do is, by default, if we search for render opacity, I want that to be 0. because I don't want to see this unless it's needed. So if I press play, it's gone. In the graph, we're going to create two custom events. We're going to say show cursor. And we're going to show a custom event. I'm going to hide cursor. So these two, show cursor, we're going to pull in fade in. Let's do fade out down here. We're going to play animation like this. Same for the bottom. We're going to play the animation. Nope. Like that. Then over here we can right click and do animation finished. And there's one for fade in, animation finished, and fade out. And on this, we're going to create a new boolean, and we're going to call this is cursor showing. And we're just going to set this like this. We're going to say is cursor showing after we fade in, yes. And after we fade out, no. So on the play character, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate FPS trace, and I call this cursor trace, so we can separate the two, because this one currently deals with highlighting using a material, so we're going to change that. We're going to delete most of this here and get rid of all of that because we don't need it. So let's see. We need now to actually have a interface. So we're going to create a interface to handle dealing with the widget. So we're going to come to blueprint, blueprint class. No, I'm doing it wrong. We're going to right click in user interface, widget, and WBP. No, I've done it wrong again. So we need the interface, so it's right click, blueprint, and interface. I'm going to go BVPI underscore widget. And in here, we need a function which will be called cursor check. And this is going to return a boolean, which will be cursor showing, like this. So we need to now add that to the widget, so the HUD. So we can go into the HUD, we go to the graph, the class default, no, class settings, sorry, implemented interface, BPI underscore widget. And we have this cursor check interface to run. We just put is cursor showing into that, like that. And then let's make sure that this is public, just to make sure. So back in the trace for the cursor trace, from the true, we need to get a reference to the HUD. So I've already done this because I was testing. But the way we do this is when we create the HUD, you can right click, promote to a variable, and just name it HUD. And now we have a reference like this. So the HUD we grab and we say cursor check on it. That's the wrong one. We want the message cursor. Oh my god, cursor check message. And we need two of these, so we need one here and one on false. Make sure they're connected up. The top we do into a branch. From the false we do a do once, and then we need another HUD here, and we just do show cursor. We put that into completed. The bottom we do the same. We say cursor showing, and for this one it's true, so we do once. And the HUD, I'll just move it between these. We do hide cursor and completed. The end of the top show cursor goes into the reset of the do once on the bottom. The bottom hide cursor goes into, oh, I've accidentally opened that, goes into the reset on the top do once. The next thing to test is to just find the event tick, replace the FPS trace with the cursor trace, and then we can test it out, see what happens. So if we highlight something, nothing. Why is it doing that? Why didn't it show up when I highlighted? So I made a mistake, and we can fix that here. Instead of play animation, we actually want play animation forward. And same for the bottom, play animation forward, like this. So now if we try this, if we go into here and we highlight, so we see the circle, we move away, didn't go away. Why did that not do that? So we highlight, we remove. Ah, I see. We want to out blocking hit, false, and run that into the cursor check at the bottom. So let's see. So we show the cursor, we highlight, there we go. So maybe those are a bit too slow. So all we do is we come into the designer, fade in. We can move this down to here. Now we move the top one to change, well, we move that and then put that there. Fade out, we do the same. We just lower the timer to that. And now if we check, and if we turn off this debug trace, because we don't need to see it. So if we highlight, there we go. So it works between these, like it will fade out. And then everything still works. Like if we do, just do a check, print, hello. And we highlight something and click. Not firing, and why is that? We do a check here. Have I removed the left mouse? No, hovered actor. So we need to set the logic up for the hovered actor. And this is a bit different because we don't need to check and remove hovers and all this stuff. All we need to do for this is grab the hovered actor on true. We can set the hovered actor to the out hit and on false on both. So on here and on here, we set the hovered actor to nothing. So if we try it now, if I play, if I click hello, if I move off and click nothing, if I click this one, hello. So now we can do that. And if I, yep. So they're both working now. So now we have an interactive system. We have the line trace, we highlight objects, we have using the material that is linked below. We also have the how to send interact messages to the object. And we also have now the cursor that will show instead of the material. So I hope this has been useful for you. This is just a simple or a more expansive interaction system. Following tutorials are going to basically use this as my base on interacting with objects. You can obviously break off from this and use this for something else or create your own interactive system. But I like using this. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. The next episode, I think we're going to do some doors, some interactable doors with different types of, like, if they're locked, if they're not locked, opening, closing, stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.